Excellent.
The first thing on the agenda, since we all know each other except maybe Abby, would you mind introducing yourself to the group?
Absolutely. So my name is Abby Hunt. I'm with the Platte County Health Department. I started going to these meetings when I first started here back in November. Maybe not this specific sector, but I started at the quarterly meeting, fell in love, slowly started going to most of the sectors. I learned that a lot of what the KCPA does happens south of the river, and so I'm trying to find a way to bring it north.
Awesome.
Bill and Peach, you want to introduce yourselves to Abby, I guess?
Go ahead, Bill.
So I'm Bill Brandmeier, and for the last 4 years, I've been working with Robin and Natalie as the sports sector co-lead. Sports sector we've created synergy around using youth sports to help bring youth in Kansas City more physical activity and exercise. We have strategies number 23 through 30 in the Kansas City Physical Activity Plan. Most of those entail working with other organizations to try to engage more kids involved, whether they be on playgrounds, community centers, anything with Parks and Rec. And the first co-lead was Pastor Adrian Roberson, and he and I worked through, with the guidance of Natalie and Robin, the sports sector's focus and what we're trying to do. The best thing the sports sector has done is helped guide the Aspen Institute into the Project Play report and tell the story of how important sports and physical activity are for kids. And using that, we're trying to leverage that report to expand the information within the report, but also bring more groups like you, Abby, to the table to talk more about how to expand a greater youth sports network, a greater youth sports experience for kids, regardless of their financial situation or where they live, what zip code they live in. And it's a big challenge, and we're up for it. And my other job is I run a foundation that helps kids play sports, and so it's called ShareWaves, and the tagline is building better humans through sports. And we focus on solving the cost problem, the access to quality problem, and the time prioritization of kids' lives, and helping coaches, teachers, and parents understand that sports are critically important to the development of our kids, and we should do everything we can to keep them in sports for as long as we can through high school or through their whole lives. So.
And I'll just follow it up with, I've been the co-lead for the sports sector since last fall. So working with Bill since then. My sort of day job is with a group called Play Like a Champion. We're a national nonprofit that does predominantly coach training for youth and high school sports coaches, as well as uses a collective impact model in some locations around the country to create opportunities for kids in the urban core, centered around youth sports and violence prevention and things like that. So.
Yeah. And I guess our call-in person, would you mind introducing yourself? I guess we can move on. Robin, do you want to introduce yourself?
Do you know who it is, Natalie?
I don't, but they would have had to receive the calendar invite.
Okay, well, feel free to kick him out.
I thought it might be Bob, since he was the one emailing me that he was trying to join from his phone.
Okay. Well, we don't want any bombing, so you can drop unless Bill, do you see, is that his email? Is that his phone? Do you know?
I do not think so.
Okay, let's drop them.
Okay.
We had we haven't had Zoom bombs for years, and then two happened, one on ours and one on another one that I was on last month, and so we're being a little bit more cautious. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was on the early childhood sector meeting. That was a lovely Monday morning call.
Sorry for that. It's
Oh no,
unfortunate.
it happens.
Yeah. What motivates people, I don't understand. All right. So I'm Robin Shook. I'm associate professor at Children's Mercy and director of the Kansas City Healthy Lifestyles Collaborative. So thanks. Good to see everybody. Thanks for coming.
And I guess just last is me. My name's Natalie. I support several sectors of our Kansas City physical activity team and some of our ongoing research projects at the Kansas City Healthy Lifestyles Collaborative.
I was just kind of curious, is like Lene used to come to this all the time. I haven't spoken with her for a little bit, but do you know, does this time just not work, or is she busy, or?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
She came to my board meeting in the last week of March, and she let me know that her job had become somewhat stressful and overwhelming, and
Gotcha.
she had to really focus on that. I've left her alone for about a month. I'm
Sure.
curious as to how she's doing, so I do need to reach out to her, and I'll make a point of that. I, once again, feel like there should be more people coming to this meeting, but there's not. That's okay. For now, I think we have a really great nucleus, and I'm excited to continue to try to expand it. So,
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think we're always, open-minded if like the time doesn't work or something, but.
Bob just emailed me that we kicked him out.
Oh, well, he should have said hello.
Yeah. I don't know
I
that the time-
actually
Go ahead.
work at like the Sporting Central Bank Complex where they do youth sports. I do adult league there, but then I also do like the littles. Do you want me to reach out to that director to see if she'd be interested in start joining these calls?
yes, please.
Really?
Okay,
Yeah.
I will text her now and see if that can eventually get added to her schedule.
We should all take the challenge to invite one person to our next meeting.
Yeah.
And make sure they come.
Yeah, this is Bob Martin. Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Yes.
Natalie's in charge of Natalie's in charge of Bob.
You can hear me this time, right? My phone cut me off for some reason when I unmuted.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, fine. All right. Well, I'm listening, and I don't think you heard me try to introduce myself before because I think I was muted. But I'll just take part in the conversation.
Great. Do we want to move on to our first agenda item then?
Yes, please.
Okay. First on the agenda is our Project Play Communities Conversation event. Robin and I have been meeting with them every couple weeks, and we finally got a date set. So that'll be Tuesday, August 19th, 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Kauffman Foundation Conference Center. And there'll be breakfast and finish out the day with kind of lunch and networking and a send-off speaker. For those of you that aren't familiar, I can just kind of give the proposal for the project. It's going to be modeled after Project Play Western New York's annual Community Conversations event. which was open to all sports providers across the region and features keynote conversations along with capacity building workshops. The event is going to be a little different than the summit that we held last year because it'll focus specifically on sports providers, program administrators, and coaches. Robin, do you want to share anything else about that?
Yeah, let's see. What can other than the date, nothing is really finalized yet. Bill and Pete expect a personalized invitation to lead sections of the program from the Aspen Institute. They specifically wanted to say, we will formally invite Bill and Pete to participate. So I don't want to like let too much out of the bag there, but you will have an active role in, both of you will have an active role in the conference. We did also settle on or we ranked the keynote speakers. And it's always tricky because since this person is not confirmed, I don't want to say too much. Well, I'll just say this person has we think would make a great keynote speaker. She has not confirmed, and this is not finalized in any way, shape, or form. But we believe that Daisha Clam, I think is how you say her last name, would make a great keynote. So hopefully that happens. She was the previous director of Project Play Western New York, which they have done a lot of great work, as we all know, and now leads community engagement at the Positive Coaching Alliance. So checks a lot of boxes for what we want to accomplish from the goals of the community conversations. Everyone's feedback about the conference and having lots of interactive sessions was heard loud and clear, and so this will be, it wouldn't be a Project Play event if there wasn't some panels and presentations, but there's going to also be a lot of conversation too. So I think it'll be about a 50-50 mix. So that's all we have finalized right now, but information will be coming out, I think, in June.
So just out of curiosity, I gather that it's less of a, not that this is a problem, but I gather it's more of a, this is our template, this is what we do at Project Play, and you are allowed to provide some feedback rather than like, hey, what do you guys want to do and how can we support it? That just sounds a little bit like, which is fine, that's what they're doing. Just out of curiosity, it seems like that's kind of the, hey, here's what we're doing.
Yeah, it can be that way. I agree. There's going to be, I would say, my sense is that there's going to be a lot of about half-ish, meaning like 2 sections where there will be people like Daisha saying, here's what worked in Western New York, here's how we established our coalition. And then it'll be followed by a session where Kansas Cityans talk about it.
Yeah.
That's kind of my.
Exactly.
What can we take from this lesson from, say, Western New York? What can we take from, say, Philadelphia, where they've got a really good coalition? and apply that here. That's kind of my view of how the day will be structured.
Yeah, I mean, so long as because those are both really successful, I think, projects. So that's a good case studies to follow. So long as the answer isn't get a really, really rich local philanthropist to give
I
you a bunch of
know.
money. Because that is
Yeah.
the case in Western New York. I mean, they were gifted millions of
Absolutely.
dollars.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. What? I don't know, 50 million, $500 million, something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
something crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Something crazy.
Cool.
Yeah. I think that, yeah, that I think that's the approach.
Cool.
As far as like the invite list for this, I guess we'll need to be thinking about that as a group. I wanted to show you a new feature with our groups. In our sports sector group on Outlook, there is a file section. So I've put in a contact sheet. This is from the previous summit. So some of these we might want to change, but I thought it would be a good starting point. It's organized by the titles like nonprofit, community, Parks and Rec organizations, adaptive sports community, schools, officials. So if you have some people that you think we really need to consider that maybe aren't there, or maybe some new members to the sports sector, then feel free to add their names and organizations there. If you're having problems with the accessing this, I can also just send you the Excel sheet.
Yeah, and I know it's on the agenda later, but if you could maybe walk all of us through how to use this later, that would be great.
Okay.
Yeah. I think this is going to be a helpful new way, but there is a learning curve.
Well, that's a terrific start. I mean, it's nice that we have a list of people we can invite off the bat. That's very helpful. But yeah, I think it'd be really positive.
We also have, 3,384 youth programs
Yep.
In our directory. Now, I don't think we want to just email all of them, but we have that as a resource to consider as well. And I'll talk a little bit about that, I think, later in the meeting.
Yeah, Robin, I did go and remove like Kathy Nelt, like a few people's emails. I didn't think they'd want me sharing with the whole group for all the pro sports teams. I don't have anyone with the World Cup, I don't think's email either, or the, what is it, KC26 group?
Seems like a theme.
Yeah.
I did submit a request, a formal request to have someone from the World Cup committee present at the meeting. We'll see what there's like a process to do this, but so I followed that process. We'll see. Okay, just to attend. Sorry, Bill, you're muted.
I can personally reach out to Neil Sharma, who's the vice chair of the foundation. I also have a good relationship with Jerry Reardon, with Mayor Reardon. So either one of those would be good. So
cool. Well, if I guess in general about this, I suppose
Angie Long would be good. So
yeah. Maybe by the next time we meet, which is on June 11th, I would anticipate having an agenda finalized and like a formal invitation ready to go. Of course, this is all really contingent. This essentially is Aspen's event. We are paying them to do it. So it is kind of up
Did you guys broach the idea of a sponsor and what that would mean for us, or for the Kansas City Physical Activity Plan?
A sponsor for the conference or for the summit?
Correct.
No, because we paid for it already.
Right.
So there wasn't really a need for money.
There's not a need. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm just wondering if we could leverage it. Obviously, it's a big deal if Garmin or Advent Health or
Well, presumably
guess-
Project Play would say that's their domain though, right? If they're putting this on.
maybe that's what I was wondering, if there'd been any conversation about it.
Yeah. And they actually brought on the person who organizes their annual summit, their National Project Play Summit. She actually is gonna, we've now basically handed it off to her. So
cool.
she's doing it.
Do they know what the summit's going to be next year?
Boston.
Boston. Got it. Cool.
Boston. If you go to their website, they have like a pre-registration actually, I think is
Okay. Sweet.
although I don't think they have a specific location in Boston yet. It's just in Boston. So at our June 11th meeting, maybe even at the end of the month at the coffee meetup, we might have more specific information, but hopefully they will have finalized some things by then.
So as we take away, Pete and I and Natalie, our task is to invite people and get as many people there as possible.
Well,
Plus they're going to ask us to help with the curriculum.
yeah, you're gonna have you're gonna have a job. You're
No,
gonna have
I
a
know that.
specific
I know
job,
that.
I think. But yeah, as a sector, for sure, we're definitely gonna have to come up with a good list and try to get people to come. I think, we're hoping for 100 people-ish to
Okay.
attend.
Okay.
Um,
I think we should be able to sell it out.
Are they going to want to invite people? Like, do you have any sense of the parameters around? Is it going to be sort of like invite only and they send the invites? Is it going to be?
I don't get that
No.
impression.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But that being said, it's not going to be, let's email the 3,000 people in the database.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
They want the right people there.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Which is fine. But
Yeah.
Well,
Not that anyone
let's-
would get
Pete,
turned away either, I don't think, but
let's figure out how to get into this spreadsheet that Natalie's created, and let's rank each of the individuals A, B, and C. Maybe you and I could do that together.
and I don't even know, Natalie, because I haven't seen that spreadsheet either, but is that pretty similar to what we used for the April 24 summit?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a pretty solid place to start, I think.
Yeah. We can figure out who else needs to be on that list, but
But as far as like the list being different, it won't be as many I don't know, like funders, right? Or
yeah,
school
the idea is
dis-
providers, right?
yeah.
yeah, I mean, we can.
So to some degree, the other piece of that is, I mean, the 3,000 people on the directory, really, we ought to look, I would think, at sort of the biggest ones on there. Makes some sense. There's going to be ones that, like, Natalie, in your spreadsheet, I mean, Parks and Rec organizations, the, major clubs around things like that are going to be the key ones.
Well, and we also want, like Adrian. Yeah, for sure. I don't know how he fits in like the big or small, but someone like him, very specific geographic area that's maybe underrepresented, and
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be good. I'm glad you guys are gonna help with it. That'll be
Let us know what we can do.
cool. Yeah, do we want to move on to the mapping project, Natalie?
Yeah, it's just standing on the agenda from last time, just the current phase. David's and his team's still doing interviews for phase 2 of that project. For anyone that's new, that's got some contacts either with tackle football, flag football, dance, soccer, or adaptive sports, let me know and I can send them to David and his team. And then the Kansas City Sports Directory, it's live for those of you that haven't had a chance to look at it. I can put it in the chat. If you guys want to mess around with it and tell us what you think or give us any feedback, we're open to that. And Robin's met about looking into adding an interactive map feature to the current page, so it makes it a little more user-friendly.
Yeah, and so yeah, I guess so the website's live. We haven't really promoted it much yet, just because I know that there may still be some functionality that may be missing, or there may be other elements that may not be working great. For example, couple weeks ago, the link outs weren't working. So we got that fixed though. So would really appreciate it if you guys look at it, and if you have any comments, send them to either Natalie or myself, and we'll try to address them. I'm kind of thinking that June is when we'll like start promoting it.
So my first blush is that I think that all the pictures should be local. So instead of stock.
Yeah, if you have them, this is the problem. We don't have any money to get local pictures, and
I'll just send some to Natalie.
if you have some, that'd be great. Yeah,
I
I think that's
Absolutely.
good. Make sure you have the permission to use those photos. We run into that all the time with, if you're using pictures of minors, you need to have the permission.
I have permission to use them.
okay.
I made sure I did that throughout the whole process of collecting the.
That's good.
the-
So yeah, like events and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
I am a photographer, and so I'd be willing to go to some of these different locations, take pictures. Do we have any sort of picture release waiver that parents can sign that's already pre-made?
I have one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what we would probably do, what we can do, I believe how it works is like if Bill has them, or Platte County, for example, has them already, we can take those. If we're doing new things, and let's say you're going out for the intent purpose of getting some pictures for this website, we would have to collect a new one with Children's Mercy. So Natalie, I don't know if you have it, but Katie has it, because
I'm sure I have it in an old email somewhere,
Yeah.
but I'll look for it.
I can also reach out to Katie to see if she has that.
Oh. Great.
I'm messaging her right now, so I'll just send it to you if she responds.
And
Perfect.
Abby, if you want me to create a shot list for you, I can do that.
That would be amazing.
And
I would love
what
that
we'll-
even more.
And what
That's
we'll
great.
do is, what we would like to do is to make them available both on the directory, but on that website that I just posted. That's Move Together KC. That is our public facing version of the Kansas City Physical Activity Plan. And if you click on the images link, that is like our image bank. So the idea is that we put all these images that we collect into this image bank, and then as anyone, whether they're looking for a youth sports or, grandma doing yoga or whatever, they can go to this and have access to it. So it's kind of multi-purpose.
Kind of a rabbit trail. Sorry, guys, but
When you
the-
select the images tab,
really
it looks
great
like
conversation.
it looks like it automatically downloads as a zip file. Is there a way to just create a link to that so it's not, you can select which images you download?
No, And when they set up the website, there was a reason for it, and I can't remember the reason, but this is what they said they had to do.
Got it.
Yeah.
Um,
So you
within
get them
that-
all.
Within that zip file, is it possible to make different folders for the different organizations that we have images of? So they know directly where to go rather than trying to scroll through
Oh.
hundreds of pictures?
Yeah, it looks like right now it's a pretty small bank of
Mhm.
20 items. But I think that would be great if like we had 100 images and they were organized by whatever. I think that makes a lot of sense. Natalie, maybe if you can help communicate that to, I think Katie is the one who
Okay.
and understands all that. This is great feedback. The idea then is like we have this and like Bill's putting on an event and needs an image. Bill can go there and click on it. Platte County is putting on a pickleball tournament. They want pictures of local people playing pickleball, they could go there. That type of thing is,
Love it.
Got
yeah,
it.
is the ultimate goal of the Move Together repository. Same with images. As you can see, there's a B-roll image, video file.
Oh, nice.
Same type thing. We have a B-roll right now, but we theoretically can add to it as more images are being collected, moving images. Okay, the other thing Natalie mentioned was the location map. That is what Natalie said is partially true. It's mostly going to be, I don't know how useful it's going to be for like a family, which is like what the sports directory is used for. It may be useful, but mostly what we're going to try to do is to do some geography-based analyses. So for example, we might, and I'm just making this up on the fly, we would map or we would do analysis of bus routes and physical activity program locations to say like only 50% of programs are located along a bus route of less than 30 minutes. So we can, that would, and again, I've just made that up, but we can analyze it based on how someone without a car could get to a sports league or sports practice, something like that. Or it could be overlaid with, one thing that they've done in the nutrition space is if you're on SNAP or food stamps, how many programs are located within your geographic area, with the assumption that if you are on SNAP, you might have fewer resources to either pay for a sports league, or you may only have one car or no cars to get you to a sports league. So that's the type of analysis, geography-based analysis we're looking at doing.
So it wouldn't be a map that shows the locations, like
It would be a map, but it would probably not be like a searchable map, meaning like I'm looking for all the baseball programs in this zip code. I'm not sure that it would have that functionality, just based on the previous models. And the reason is to do that is like tens of thousands of dollars, which we don't have. Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately. That's what we wanted to build that into the Casey Sports Directory functionality, and we didn't have funds to do it.
Even if it's like the nutrition one, I think just seeing them on the map and you can click on
Yeah.
the ones that would be
So,
helpful.
and if you can find that quickly, Natalie, you can post in the chat, but that's kind of the model. Like in that map, they've done this with food access. And like you can't, I'm not sure. I don't believe you can say like, look for all the SNAP providers in a given zip code. I don't believe you can do that. And like give you a map of saying, here's 24 SNAP locations in 64108, something. Anyway, that I can answer more questions about that if people are interested, but it's kind of any questions about that?
No, it's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. There are endless things, as we know, that you can do here. The rate limiting factor is money at the end of the day. So we tried to choose like what we could do for the most bang for our buck.
So, Robin, it kind of begs the question a little bit: who's responsible for development and raising money for you guys? Does it have to go through Children's Mercy?
No. I mean, so it depends on what you're talking about, first of all. So that website that sports directory website, that was funded with a grant that I got. And I had $2,000 in the grant to do this. And so that's not even a Children's Mercy funded thing. I just had some money in a grant to do it. I would personally love to hand this off to someone. In Boston, the city does this. I would love to give the city of Kansas City, Missouri, this website and all the data in it and say, here, you take this on and you put your money into it. So
can we table this discussion, but maybe you and I meet on this and we think about how the best way is to move this forward? Because you could see where someone would want to own this and use it to promote themselves, and if it was actually functional and if it did what you vision it to do, it could be a pretty popular place to go for families, and I would think a real estate company would think that it was cool, or Visit KC should think it's super cool, or and why wouldn't Kathy Nelson at least look at it? And we're not talking millions of dollars, we're talking another $10,000 would make it very, very, very functional. So
you're exactly right. And it's all this is the hardest part about all that we do, right? Is like prioritizing resources.
I get it.
It's like we can raise 200 grand to get a sports equipment warehouse. That'd be super cool.
Right.
Is it the priority? I don't know. We could raise 25 grand to do this website. Is that where it should be sent? I don't know.
So if I could broker,
I wonder,
if I could broker stuff, and you could help set priorities. As I can execute. So I like it.
I wonder if we could get feedback from Boston. I mean, that's just the one I know about off the top of my head that they've promoted, and find out how, I guess to be blunt, how much is used. I mean, I don't know how much they'd share, right? But it seems like it's one of those things that should be tremendously useful for people. And I'd just be curious to see somebody who's had one for a little while say, once we promoted it and people knew about it, it was used, by a ton of people. Or gosh, we wish it was used by more people. Like, this is so useful, but we can't figure out why it doesn't gain more traction.
Did you go to the session at
I did not.
Project? Okay, I went to it, and the guy was super informative and nice. We can invite him to come to the June meeting and say, hey, can you give us a 15-minute just overview. I mean, like he could tell you like, here is how we mapped this baseball field. We don't need that level of detail,
No.
but we can say, can you just give us a 15-minute overview or something like that? And
That
I'm
would
happy
be, I
to-
think, really helpful because that might give us some thoughts about the direction it kind of goes
Yeah.
and how to do that.
I'll
Just
do
seems
that.
like it it's hard. I mean, like, I guess I'm in the sort of, I can only speak for myself and sort of the people I'm around, but we're more in the stage of life where ourselves and all the families we know are embedded in sort of the sports organizations we're embedded. I mean, at this point we're in high school, but other families that we're around, their kids are in the same clubs or organizations or rec groups that their older kids were in, right? So
Yeah.
they're sort of like, I don't know that they'd use something like this. It seems like it's got to be targeted towards families with young kids who are trying to figure out for the first time what to get involved in. And I'd just be curious to talk to like Boston. Have you had success in those sort of things? Because, that feels like the area, although it might actually then flip around a little bit because nationally, as we talk to people, you get into high school and then you've got a bunch of kids again trying to figure out what they can do in high school if they're not on their varsity team, right? So
Totally.
it's almost like there's a middle area where I don't know if there's much use, but can we figure out how to hit the right demographics? So I don't know, I think it's a really cool thing, but
Yeah, I I completely agree.
I did
Yeah.
find the Snap one if you want me to
Oh.
show it.
Yeah, you could just as an example, just this is so this was funded through our CDC project that we have. There's a nutrition component to it. And Mid-America Regional Council developed this, and they have SNAP recipients, and then you can put on there in the turn on off layers. You can add in. We were interested in SNAP or SNAP locations. If you scroll down now, oh yeah, there you go, double up food bucks. Yeah, so you can see like the dots are where they accept double up food bucks. So you look at this, and I look at that map. The bright intensity is higher levels of SNAP. How many double up food bucks locations are in where the dots are? Not very many. That's a problem.
No.
I see that as a problem. These are like food deserts. When they talk about food deserts, that's what you're talking about here. So
Got it.
yeah.
Cool.
So, but just to be clear, like that's as I mentioned, that would not necessarily be for parents and families. They wouldn't find a lot of functionality. This is more for the purposes of our grant. So great conversation. If everyone's okay with it, I'll reach out to this Boston guy who presented at Aspen and just say, hey, do you want to join our meeting on June 11th? And just, we're not talking technical stuff here. We're just talking how is it being used, and cool. They did, I don't know where it's at. He did say that they have both the program repository like we developed. They're also working on a map too. And that is, they map like all their parks and all that stuff, which that might be like what we're talking about. That seemed like a really big undertaking. They were like outlining different parts of parks. So in this park, you can do baseball. In this park, you can do Frisbee golf, so.
oh, wow.
I wonder how much that costs.
It looked like a lot of work.
That's interesting because that goes beyond, I mean, that's almost like I don't know, that's almost like on a broad level that could get into like what people use, I don't know, Strava or All Trails or things like that to find a place to go, recreate, whatever that looks like with your team or yourself or your family or whatever.
Yeah.
There's definitely utility to that, but I don't know. Interesting. Yeah, it'd be interesting to pick his brain. So.
Here, I'll here is, oops, sorry. trying to put the link in. They recorded, of course, they recorded the
Who's gonna watch
that session. If you want to watch an hour-long session on on mapping sports deserts, there you go. It was good. I liked it. But all right. Wow. 8 minutes left.
Yeah, we have a
Next on
lot
the
to talk about.
a lot of the end was just like just for your information events or webinars coming up. But the sports sector coffee meetup is scheduled for May 29th, which is the last Thursday. So we'll meet at 8 a.m. at Windmill KC Coffee House. It's kind of in the Turner School District in KCK. Ray, who's been coming to a lot of the coffee meetups, he's with One Community Jiu-Jitsu Club, so he's offered to take us on a field trip across the street from there to the Turner Recreation Commission. So on the calendar invite, I put my phone number, so like if you show up to coffee shop and we're not there, you can get connected with wherever we're at. But yeah, in addition to that, we've already got an August meetup. Tony Temple's gonna host that one. He's working on some event details, but he liked the idea of hosting one of those too.
I love the idea, by the way, of like the field trip, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
I think that's a really cool idea.
Thought it was too. Raven sent like some proposed questions to ask the group for conversation starters too, so he was taking his hosting responsibility
Good job,
seriously. Yeah.
This is awesome, I would say. You know, just in general, I love that this has happened. This is like, it's exactly what we want. So kudos to all you guys for this.
Yeah, it's awesome.
No, the next thing on the agenda was just KC26 legacy work updates. I don't know if you want to talk about this, Robin, but you shared some updates with the Aspen team on this.
Yeah, no, I just sent the article. Bill, I don't know if you saw it, but I think, you know, the variety of you know, back channel and front door poking of World Cup has been good, because in the article they talk about they don't have a lasting legacy, but they're thinking about it. And they mention play equity and access to sports. And so these are very good things.
Yeah,
So
I thought
I-
it was interesting that Polly Kramer said that we don't need fields and fields are expensive, and you know, it was just a little bit tone deaf, but that's fine. It's
Yeah. It's I'm very pleased that they're thinking about this.
I'm thrilled that that Toriano got that written, and it's awesome, and we need to push for sure. So
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to take
And
that
it-
article and send it. So
Yeah. And they it was very timely because it was like the day before is when I made the speaking request for the August meeting. So
it's
they're
perfect.
getting it from all sides. So that's good. Great.
Great.
If anyone's interested in like what other people are doing for their legacy work, our friends in Toronto shared their upcoming event to hear from the LA84 people and the legacy work in LA.
I tried to sign up for that and I couldn't, but like I saw it and it was like the event, it's like an in-person event in Toronto.
Yeah.
But then there's a virtual option and I couldn't figure out how to do it. So if anyone figures it out, let me know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I met both of them at the Project Play summit too. The Toronto
Awesome.
group.
Cool.
They were nice. Switch
They're
screens.
Canadians. Canadians are nice.
So nice. Spend some time.
And the other thing that was shared in that Coalition for Sports Equity group was the National Day of Play. They're really trying to make it a national movement. So if there are local organizations that want to register, they're sending out some prepared play equipment to help kids play and some advertising materials for Play Day. They said like minimal requests was to just like if your organization would do a media blast that day promoting the Day of Play. They've got a webinar about it tomorrow at May 15th at noon. If you're interested in learning more about the Day of Play, I can put the link in the chat.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love to be able to have enough momentum to try to pull something off here in Kansas City, but we're obviously, I think, you know, it would be good to be involved in a day of play, but we don't have enough core density. I don't know how else to describe it.
It's funny because I'm sure they have a reason, but that date, the middle of summer, is like the time we would least, and we don't do the programming, we just work with a bunch of programmers in our organization, but like, I don't, that's the time when the least number of people would be in, like, it'd be the least easy for us to promote something like that.
Yeah.
It's outside the school year. It's the week before the 4th of July. So like, I don't know, even our partners who are doing summer programming are pretty much taking a break at that point. I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I know that Colorado did a full, the whole state did a full day of fundraising, and it was not the same date, but
that was the Day of Giving. Yeah.
Day of Giving. Yeah. That was,
it was very successful.
Very successful.
Yeah.
They kind of talked about that in the coalition meeting. I guess a lot of people are just hosting events in June and calling it their Day of Play activities, and then they're going to do a write-up about it on that day and do their media stories about it on the Day of Play.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Cool.
All right. And Adrian got back to both Robin and I, and there may be just a spot for one of us, it sounds like. So.
Oh, I wasn't. Yeah, that's kind of confusing. I thought we were doing this group, but yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I thought maybe it's just you and me as one group. I'll talk to Adrian about it.
Yeah. I think it would be the timing would be good with the August thing. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. And then kind of the last update is about the Kansas City HLC quarterly meeting. We have our date set for that in the registration link. So it'll be
oh yeah.
I have the wrong date in the agenda. It'll be the 12th. So the day after our sports sector meeting.
I thought that was funny because I saw that and I thought, aren't these usually on Thursdays?
They're on Thursdays.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I've been so screwed up on dates this past couple weeks. So, but the quarterly meeting, we don't have the exact title yet, but we're going to send out the message like tomorrow or Friday, I think is what they're going to do. But it's about, there's a Children's Mercy fellow who's going to talk about physical literacy. Should be a great, I've heard other people attend this or heard this talk. Apparently it's a great presentation. So, and very, very appropriate for the sports sector. So physical literacy, is about, understanding physical activity, understanding motor development, all these things that I've learned in the past couple of years is so important.
He can help me out. I'm giving a presentation the week after that at our conference on a lot of it will be the American Development Model and stuff like that, of which the core thrust is physical literacy. So I'll just take notes. It does say on the registration link, Natalie, when you click the registration link, it still says June 11th.
I know. And my calendar hold from Katie is also. So I guess you're just going to spend the whole day with us if you go to that and then have the sports center meeting afterwards. So it must be on Wednesday.
Let me, I'm gonna send. And if you have to hop off, hop off. But it reminded me, talking about these, that if you're interested in this stuff, the National Strength and Conditioning Association conference is in Kansas City in July, mid-July. That can be somewhat niche, a lot of strength and conditioning coaches, things like that. But they invited me to present at a session on physical activity promotion and physical activity plans. So there are going to be, I haven't looked at the whole agenda, but sounds like they got a diverse program. And so if you're interested in a national conference that is going to be held locally in Kansas City, consider attending. And if you're a power lifter, you get a double bonus, right?
Do I strike you as a power lifter, Robin?
Believe it or not, no one would get this because I'm a pipsqueak now, but in college, I was, my best friend was a power lifter. And so I lifted with him a lot. I weighed
Nice.
I had about 25 pounds of more of muscle on me at that point. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Anyway.
I guess I wanted to show you guys one more thing about this groups thing in case you've had a nuisance with your emails. One thing we've noticed since we started this, when people reply to the events or the emails we send, when they hit reply, it sends it to the whole group. So if you don't want to be receiving all of those, you can go into the group settings and hit just receive replies to you that are specifically going to your email, so you won't get those.
So
Because-
Natalie, I don't see anything that you're showing in my email. So
Yeah.
are you using webmail or something, or?
I'm just an Outlook in the groups.
Yeah, I don't know where that is.
So, yeah, what's the link you would use to go to this? So I've clicked on the link when I signed up initially, it sends out an email, and I've clicked on that and gone try to go to SharePoint. But when I open my Office on the web, I don't actually ever see this as it should be a group.
Yeah,
under my
just
account.
in your normal inbox, there should be a group section on the left side to go to groups.
Maybe that's. I'm going now.
And then you should.
I
be
get
in
the
sports
emails
center.
now, but all of them.
For me, whenever I go to the groups, I've gone through the emails and joined the sectors, but they're not in my Outlook.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Go to groups. Yeah, so I click go to groups at the bottom of my Outlook feed, and it doesn't give me this group.
Same.
Makes me feel, well, actually, I have no groups, so I feel a little lonely.
We're going to have to, I will just say, the team is developing info sheet on how to do this to share out with people. It's not done yet, but this is good feedback.
Yeah, I will say when you get the calendar invites, if you right click on it, there is the option to add to your calendar. So you might start with that just to get those on your Outlook calendar.
What's funny though is that, so I see on there,
Mhm.
you got the monthly sports sector meeting.
Yeah.
When I accepted the meeting, it only gave me today's meeting. It didn't give me future
The
meetings.
series.
Yeah, didn't give me the series. So
Well, this is good to
Yeah.
know because I don't know what you guys see on your end. Like sometimes I wonder if it's just like Children's Mercy groups, like maybe they're just visible to us.
Could be. Yeah. I mean, I just don't want to miss anything, but I'm
Yeah.
happy to. But yeah.
Yeah. So sorry it's not working great.
Yeah. Figured out.
We're learning. We're learning. All right, I gotta hop off. Sorry, guys.
I do too.
Yep.
Great meeting,
Good-
guys.
good to
Thank
meet-
you.
Bye.
See you, everybody.
Thank you. Bob Martin saying bye.
Bye, Bob.
Bob.